With me to discuss the issues of the European Parliament this week is Godfrey Bloom of UKIP. Godfrey, what's your thoughts about the budget, first of all?
I think it's a lost opportunity. I think it was an opportunity to do something actually quite radical, and I believe we need a radical approach to these budgets. Given what's going on in Europe, austerity budgets, the difficulties in the Mediterranean, I think this opportunity is lost.
What could they have done?
Well, I think they should make some very significant cuts. The budget increases are relatively modest, but I think it sends a terrible message to those members of the European Union who are struggling, very badly struggling with austerity budgets, to see that we're not setting in the European Union administration an example. I think we should be setting an example. And of course it's significant, is it not, that some of this increase is actually going to fund pension schemes which the ordinary man and woman in the street can only dream of. Final salary schemes, index-linked, non-contributory. Again, I think this is sending a very, very bad message to many millions of people who are virtually on the breadline.
But the proposal for spending money on supporting youth employment, surely that's a good thing? No,
I don't believe it to be so. I've been a businessman most of my life, big business, small business. I started my own business in the 90s. So I have a very significant business experience, which I have to say, sadly, is more than most of the members of this chamber. When I speak to businessmen, and I do a lot in my constituency in Yorkshire, and I'm quite sure it's the same across the world, businessmen say, what we want is freedom from regulation, freedom from taxation. We want to be able to run our businesses, small, medium, or even big businesses, as we see fit. And then if you have liberty of contract, we can employ people. We now have desperate youth unemployment. It's over 50% in the Iberian Peninsula. It's over 60% in Greece. It's nearly 30% in France. And it's over 28% and growing in the United Kingdom. This is a very serious problem, but it's a problem that we've made. This isn't some sort of tsunami. This isn't an act of God. It's rules, regulation, minimum wages, and all the baggage that we put on employers, which is why we're seeing massive youth employment. So this £6 billion that's been earmarked for it to have more bureaucrats just means, more talking shops, more civil servants. No, it's futile is the word I'm looking for here. Futile.
Can I just change the subject slightly to the proposed US-Europe trade agreement and the news that perhaps the Americans have been snooping on us? What's your view on that?
Well, of course, I would have thought if we didn't expect the United States to snoop on us, I think we've been extremely naive. And I would be very surprised if we weren't snooping on them. And if we're not snooping on them, we jolly well ought to be. It's part of international procedure, isn't it, to find out what the other man thinks. And of course, there isn't a sort of a deep-rooted fundamental hostility between the peoples of Europe and the peoples of the United States. What's actually happening here is, if you will, sadly, for better or for worse, standard business practice, if you will, because even in the alliance, the height of the UK-American alliance in the war, we used to snoop on each other. I mean, we know under the 30-year rule that the Americans used to listen in and bug us, and we used to bug them at Yalta and Tehran. We wanted to know what the Americans were thinking, and rightly so.
So that's just standard business practice?
I don't think we need to get too hot under the collar about it, really, do we? I think it's all a bit theatrical.
Okay. Can I just finally turn to the question of Marine Le Pen and the immunity from prosecution for MEPs? Do you think MEPs should be immune from prosecution regardless of what they say?
No, I don't. We believe in UKIP that we should judge every particular case on its merit. And I've looked at this one very closely, and in fact I've just come straight from a meeting looking at this with my colleagues. We do not believe that she made any statement at all that was an incitement to violence or racism. That's our view. And we feel that we tread a very difficult path if politicians, from whether they're left, right or centre, can't go about their business making statements as they see fit. So we will be voting on her immunity to stay, unlike last month when we voted to lift the immunity on a member of the House who we thought had made statements to incite racial violence. So I think the best thing to do is to look at every particular case on its merits.
Godfrey, thank you.
Pleasure.